Hello, boys and girls. So we are doing our next ELA group. We are doing the same book as we did yesterday, Spoon, but we are doing something different with it. We are going to talk about author's purpose. So let's look at what we're going to be working on today. So we're going to start out with our high frequency words that we've been doing all this week. And instead of doing them in order like we've been doing them, I'm going to call them out in different orders, and then we can cheer to which one I call out. So let's start with than. T-H-A-N, 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 than. Let's go to best. B-E-S-T, 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 best, best, best. Let's do more. M-O-R-E, 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 more, more, more. Let's do left. L-E-F-T, 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 left, left, left. Let's do C. S-E-E, 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 C-C-C. Let's do does. D-O-E-S, 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 does. Let's do wash. W-A-S-H, 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 wash, wash, wash. Let's do men. M-E-N, 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 men. Let's do than. T-H-A-N, 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 than. All right. So let's go on to our next group of words. So we have been learning about the short vowel sounds. We have the short O vowel sound that says ah. We have the short E vowel sound that says eh. And we have the short U vowel sound that says What I did is I sorted all the words into the vowel sound that they have. And I actually think you guys did that on one of your papers this week. So let's look at our short O sounds. We have frog, frog, frog. It's got the ah sound. And then we've got job, job. And then I put next to job, CVC. I wanted to see if you guys remembered what that meant. It stands for consonant, vowel, consonant. So day is a consonant, O is a vowel, and B is a consonant. So let's look at our next list. It's short E that says eh. So we have the word yes, yes. We've got rest, rest. We've got left, left. We've got melt, melt. And none of those are CVC words because YES, even though it can be, Y can also be a vowel. So I didn't count that as a consonant because it's kind of tricky. So we have the short U, the sound. And the first one we have is hug, hug. And that is a CVC word because it starts with a consonant, H, a vowel, U, and a consonant, G. Then we've got the word hum, CVC. H is a consonant, U is a vowel, M is a consonant. Then we got plum, plum. So we've got the in the middle, and then we've got shut, shut. It's another short U sound. All right. So we talked about our power words yesterday, and we're going to look at them again today, but we're going to look at them in a question. So let's see. The first one is proper. What is the proper way to act in a classroom? So what is the polite or correct way to act in a classroom, the proper way? Blue, and we discussed this yesterday, this isn't the color blue, this is a feeling. And when someone feels blue, they feel sad. So why might a classmate feel blue? So there may be many reasons why a classmate feels blue. One of them may be a friend or a person in their classroom said something not kind to them. But I know that we're working really hard to not do that in our classrooms because we want to be super citizens. The next word is useful. What is one useful tool you use in school? Well, I know for me, a useful tool, a tool that I use many times a day is a pencil, because I write with the pencil a lot during the day. So it makes it very useful. And then realize, how do you help someone realize that it is important to recycle? So realize is to help someone understand, or it is to understand something. Okay, so today, before we read our book, we are going to think about the author's purpose. This is something new that we are learning today. And we're learning why authors write, why they write the way that they do. What are they trying to do when they write? So they have one of these purposes, and it's easy to remember it as PIE, P-I-E. The first one, the P, is to persuade. The author tries to persuade the reader to agree or to do something. Then inform, the author gives facts and information about a topic. And then the last one is E, entertain. The author writes for the readers to enjoy the story. So basically, you're going to try to figure out what the author's purpose is in our story. And our story is Spoon. We did it yesterday, but we're going to do it again today. But we're doing it to find out this, the author's purpose. So look for clues about the genre. I know that was talked about yesterday, the genre of the story, and then ask questions about what you read and find answers. So we had talked about asking questions last week about you can ask questions before you read, while you're reading, and after you read. So you can ask questions to find out answers. So boys and girls, we're going to figure out what the author's purpose is of Spoon. It talked about a genre, and we talked about genres yesterday. And these are just three. They're not all the genres there are. There are many, many, many different ones. There are books that are informational. There are books that are fantasy stories, and there are books that are biographies. So we did, yesterday you guys talked about Spoon being a fantasy story. That's the genre that it's in. It's a fantasy. And when I heard that, it made me think of the book Clark the Shark, because it is also a fantasy. So when a book makes me think of another book, we call that a text to text. A text is just a book. So it's basically book to book. A book reminds me of another book, but we call it a special fancy way of saying text to text. And then we did a biography this week as well. We did the biography of William Hoy, the deaf baseball player. So that is another genre. So what we're going to do, boys and girls, is we're going to listen to the story of Spoon, and you're going to think about what the author's purpose is. Are they trying to persuade us to think a certain way or to do something? Are they writing something to inform us, to give us information? Or are they writing to entertain us? So let's look at our book, Spoon.
Spoon by Amy Krauss Rosenthal. Illustrated by Scott Magoon. This is Spoon. This is Spoon's family. On Sundays, Spoon goes to visit his Aunt Silver. He has to be on his very best behavior there. She's very fancy and proper. Goodbye, darling. Ta-ta. At bedtime, Spoon likes to hear the story about his adventurous great-grandmother who fell in love with a dish and ran off to a distant land. Lately, though, Spoon had been feeling blue. What's wrong? Asked his mother. You look a bit out of shape. Nothing, mumbled Spoon. It's just that, I don't know, all my friends have it so much better than me. Like Knife. Knife is so lucky. He gets to cut, he gets to spread. I never get to cut or spread. Yes, Knife is pretty spiffy that way, isn't he? And Fork. Fork is so lucky. She gets to go practically everywhere. I bet she never goes stir-crazy like I do. Fork does get out and make herself useful, doesn't she? And Chopsticks. They are so lucky. Everyone thinks they're really cool and exotic. No one thinks I'm cool or exotic. Those Chopsticks are something else, aren't they? Meanwhile, if only Spoon knew what his friends were saying at that very minute. Spoon is so lucky, said Knife. He's so fun and easygoing. Everyone's so serious with me. No one's ever allowed to be silly with me like they are with Spoon. Spoon is so lucky, said Fork. He gets to measure stuff. No one ever does that with me. Spoon is so lucky, said Chopsticks. He can go places by himself. We could never function apart. That night, after bedtime stories, Spoon's mom turned off the light, tucked him in, and said, You know, Spoon, I wonder if you realize just how lucky you are. Your friends will never know the joy of diving headfirst into a bowl of ice cream. They'll never know what it feels like to clink against the side of a cereal bowl. They'll never be able to twirl around in a mug or relax in a hot cup of tea. Spoon hadn't thought of it that way before. He lay awake in bed for a long time. His mind was racing. He felt so alive. There was only one thing to do. I can't sleep. Come snuggle. Come, Spoon. And so he did.
All right, boys and girls, so that was the story of Spoon again. So I want you to think, what was the author's purpose of this story? Well, I don't feel like I was trying to be persuaded to do something or to change my mind or anything. So I don't think it was persuade. And I didn't really feel like I was being informed about anything. I didn't get any like informational text. There weren't like real pictures, like photos or labeling of things. I didn't see any of that. I saw illustrations and drawings. So I think that it was actually to entertain us. I think that's why the author wrote Spoon. And that makes sense because it is a fantasy, it is a fantasy story. It is illustrated, and it makes sense that it is to entertain because I found it quite entertaining. So thanks, boys and girls. I will see you at another time. Bye.